Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this. Today, we're going to uncover the quiet, completely invisible architecture behind almost every major fortune. We're looking at a fascinating breakdown of how wealth is actually built, and spoiler alert here, it is rarely just about clocking more hours at your desk. We're going to explore the concepts of leverage and compounding, and we're not talking about dry, boring financial terms here. We are talking about active living forces that literally multiply your effort.
So, let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel like there's a strict ceiling on your wealth? I mean, traditional education hands us a very specific, predictable script, right? Go to the school of hard work, get a job, trade your finite time for money, work until you're about 65, and then just kind of hope you have enough life left to actually enjoy it. But think about it. If your income depends entirely on your physical presence and your finite daily energy, your financial freedom is strictly capped. There's only so much of you to go around.
The myth of hard work. It is absolutely time to rethink your script.
Let's redefine a word we all know. When you hear the word leverage, you probably picture a dusty high school physics classroom, right? A crowbar, a fulcrum, moving a massive physical object with just a tiny amount of physical force. And sure, that's true, but it's really only half the picture. Wealth leverage is an invisible architecture. It is the underlying framework that allows you to multiply your effort and build a legacy that can actually outlive your own hard work. It's not just about lifting cars, it's about lifting your earning potential completely off the ground.
Here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. You do not get rich by simply working harder. You get rich by working through more than yourself. The truly wealthy understand this in their bones. They don't just put their heads down and grind away. They borrow. They strategically borrow other people's time, other people's money, their knowledge, and their skills to multiply their own outcomes. Your circle as a lever. This is literally the very first lever you must pull.
You see, before you ever borrow a single dollar from a bank, you borrow beliefs from your inner circle. And there are really two types of circles you can surround yourself with. On one hand, we have compounding doubts. You know that old saying that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? Well, if those 5 people are constantly murmuring things like, that's way too risky, or come on, it will never work, you are pulling a lever with someone heavy sitting right on the other end, just weighing you down. But consider the alternative, compounding courage. These are your positive realists, your calculated risk takers, the doers. Who you spend your time with is either going to compound your doubts or they're going to lend you their belief until yours is strong enough to stand on its own.
Passive income and compounding. I like to call this the quiet magic of the night shift. Let's just let this incredibly heavy-hitting quote from Warren Buffett sink in for a second. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Wow. Passive income, things like real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or royalties, is leverage in its absolute sweetest form. We're talking about businesses and assets that don't suddenly collapse the moment you decide to take a holiday. This whole concept builds into two vastly different financial destinies. You can have the exact same amount of cash, but its future depends entirely on what you do with it. On one side, we've got sleeping money. This is your cash just parked in a savings account, quietly being eaten alive by inflation. On the other side, we have working money. This is cash planted in income-producing assets, quietly being multiplied by time and compounding. It is literally the difference between your money resting and your money working the night shift while you rest.
Real-world wealth multipliers. Okay, let's make this super concrete. Let's look at exactly how these multipliers work in everyday life. Take property, for instance. If you have 100 grand, you could buy 100 grand worth of stocks. Or you could use that exact same cash as a deposit on a $400,000 property, letting the bank finance the rest. The property appreciates on the full $400,000, and your tenants actually pay down the mortgage. It's the exact same money, but 4 times the working surface. Now, think about entrepreneurship. A solo cleaner can, maybe clean 6 houses a day. But a cleaning business owner who hires 10 cleaners services 60 houses a day. It is the exact same underlying skill, just multiplied entirely through the lever of other people.
And honestly, we can't talk about modern levers without talking about technology. AI tools, automation, social media platforms. These are hands down the cheapest levers in human history. Today, one single person can reach millions of people without owning a television network or some massive corporate headquarters. A teenager with a Wi-Fi connection can build an absolute empire from their bedroom. The excuse that you don't have the resources, it has simply never been thinner.
The golden questions. Let's talk about how to apply this to your daily routine right now.
$10 versus $1,000. I want you to really think about this. Every single hour you spend doing an unexamined $10 task is an hour stolen directly from your $1,000 work. When you don't examine your daily to-do list, it is costing you entirely too much money.
So here are the 3 golden questions you need to ask whenever a new task lands on your desk. Number 1, is this the highest value thing I could be doing right now? Number 2, could someone or maybe some software else do this just as well or even better than me? And number 3, the one most of us totally avoid. What is it actively costing me to keep doing this myself? Listen, if an honest answer reveals it's not your highest value work, you've got to delegate it, outsource it, or automate it. If it is your highest value work, then give it your absolute undivided focus and let the levers carry everything else.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking you need a massive fortune to even begin this process, but the truth is simple. Start early, start small, but start anyway. You absolutely do not need to be a billionaire to use leverage. Knowledge is a lever. Technology is a lever. Carefully curating the right 5 people in your inner circle, that is a huge lever. The historical greats didn't start with a fortune. They started with the principle. Multiply your effort and then take a step back and let time compound the result. Because leverage isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but with significantly more impact. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to take into your week. Honestly ask yourself, what is one seed, just one single asset, one skill, or one system that you can plant today that your future self will thank you for in 10 years? Because your future wealth is already listening for your answer. It is time to stop trading all your hours and start building some real architecture. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.